Welcome back to another video on Jazza TV. Today we're going to talk about things that amateurs don't know that they're about to find out. You're about to find these things out. If you're an amateur and you're turning professional, you're about to find these things out. So that's the things we're going to talk about today. The first one is managers. If you're an amateur boxer, you've no idea what a manager is. If you've got an amateur boxer as a manager, I'd be very surprised because I've never seen one. But anyway, you have people who act like a manager and try and advise you and stuff like that. And if you have got them people around you, you're lucky. But you're going to find that this role normally comes with a coach as an amateur. So when you turn professional, you can assume that your coach is a manager. And a lot of people, I treated my coach like a manager too. I took what my coach said as facts on behalf of a manager. I took him as my manager, literally, and my manager was like another manager on top of my coach. So when you turn professional, there's a new thing and it's called a manager, and your manager plays a massive part in your career, and you should give your manager his own space to do what he wants, because if you don't, wires can get crossed, and he's not your coach and your coach is not your manager. So yeah, managers, look into it before you turn professional, what a manager does and how it's going to benefit you, and get one who can benefit you, because a lot of people just get a manager for getting a manager's sake, and a manager plays a vital part in your career. So that's one that you will find out soon enough. Another one is coaches. Coaches as a professional are different to coaches as an amateur. You might have the same coach, you might turn professional with your amateur coach. Good and bad, because good as in, you know, the intentions are always going to be the same as they always have been. Bad as in, he's not going to be that experienced, and you need to cut your teeth in the pro ranks. So any coach who is turning professional, they're going to be new to the game, and they're not going to understand things that they will in a few years. So let your coach be good enough. If he's not experienced, he's going to have to be super good, because experience counts a lot. So get a coach who is experienced, turn professional. You're not sniding off on your coach, but you need someone who's got good experience in the game, who's been around a long time, who understands how to structure a camp, how to peak you, how to bring you back down. And amateur peaking and training and structuring a camp is very different to professional. So yeah, get a coach who's experienced in the professional game. Finances, because if you're fighting as an amateur, there's a chance you can make money from boxing as an amateur, and you're not fighting for money, but you can get money from fights. But when you turn professional, a lot of the time you can be fighting for money, and when you can get money for fighting, and when you're fighting to get money, they're two different things. So if you're going to turn professional, do it for the right reasons. Comes a time in a professional career, you have to make calls, and you have to say, I'm not going to take that fight because it doesn't benefit me right now. Around Christmas, you see every fighter wants to get a fight because they have to pay the bills and they have to pay for Christmas, blah blah blah, when you're starting out. So you see a lot of fighters taking nothing fights for that Christmas money. But just be mindful that it's not all about Christmas, and your career goes a lot longer than Christmas. So fighting for money can sometimes, you can be conflicted with the real reason why you're fighting. So fighting for finances, it's totally different to fighting when you're an amateur. So if you're going to turn professional and it's going to be for the finances, be careful, you know, because it's so easy to pick up a loss because you didn't take the right fight at the right time. So be mindful of that one. Promoters, they don't exist in the amateur game. You never see a promoter in an amateur game. And when you turn professional, it's so easy to think that you work for a promoter because he's got a good reputation within the sport and he's been around the sport for a long time, and it's so easy for you to think that now you work under his banner. A promoter works for you, and a promoter takes 10% of your wages. Some promoters say 15. I don't agree with more than 10% for a promoter. Likewise, a manager don't agree that more than 10%. But some managers are taking more than 10%, taking 15%, training fighters, and on another 10% after that. I think they changed the rules years ago that you can't have the same promoter as a manager because of the conflict of interest. But promoters, in my opinion, they work for you. A manager works for you, and when you turn professional, a coach works for you. So don't get them three people mixed up. They've all got their own job. You've got to hand over a little bit of that career. You've got to give it to them and trust in them. So you've got to get a good one if you're going to give them that trust, you know. And you've got to give it to someone who's not just a fucking blagger, and he's not gonna mess it up on you if you're good enough to get one of these people. But yeah, when you do, they work for you. Don't get manipulated, because a lot of promoters in the sport will have you believe that you work for them, not the other way around. You're the one taking the punches, you're the one taking the risk. Stamina, you're turning professional. The most you're going to be doing is 5 threes, maybe in sparring. You're going to be fighting 3 threes. Stamina, now you're going to be building your way up to, the goal is to build yourself up to 12 3-minute rounds. You're going to be fighting 4 times as long now against somebody who's probably more than likely going to be 4 times as tough, you know. Amateur boxing is very different, and you're not really gonna, when you fight as an amateur, you're gonna feel a pace, no doubt. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be just as hard as an amateur fighting three threes as it's gonna be fighting 12 threes. I don't know why, but it's always the same amount of effort you put in, just a faster pace. But yeah, as a professional, stamina, it's a big one. And not only stamina physically, but you're gonna develop something called mental stamina. Mental stamina is when you get to round 8, you can switch off mentally. You cannot be as focused. You can have your eyes on the ball, and you can switch off and you can start thinking other things. Sometimes you go into your first few 8 rounders or what, 10 rounders, 12 rounders, you can be in a corner, or you can be standing in front of someone, and all of a sudden someone will shout something from the crowd, and you'll think, that was our kid, that. And then next minute you're thinking about your kid doing something when you're a 12-year-old, and you can just totally switch off to what's going on, and you're having a thought about something that happened years ago or something along them lines. You can think really mad things, and that comes down to focus and mental stamina. It's so important that you keep your mental stamina throughout the rounds going on. So not only physical stamina, but mental stamina, and that comes with good experience, you know. Power's gonna be different, not because the people punch harder, but because the gear that you're wearing, you're gonna be wearing big head guards and big gloves as an amateur. When you take the head guards off, your head guards now are rubber Vaseline, and your gloves, you're gonna feel a knuckle through the glove, so you're gonna feel the shots a lot more. One time I ever got stung as an amateur, mad experience. I never expected it, but as a professional you get stung a lot because you feel the knuckle in your kite, you know what I mean? You get hit square in the jaw, you feel the knuckle. So it's just normal to feel like that. A lot of fighters don't understand that. It is normal, it's very normal, and people get scared and people worry sometimes. I've heard people talking about, I was speaking to my friend the other day, Gary Thornhill, and he was talking about a fella in the gym who said, I'm gonna jack it in because every time I get hit I get flashed. he gets a white flash when he gets hit, and he said that's just normal. And he asked a few people in the changing room and they agreed and said, yeah, that's just what happens, lad, don't worry about that. But this is boxing and people don't understand that. That's your job, to go and get flashed sometimes and stuff like that. So power, you're going to feel a difference in the power. It's so important to work on your defence in a professional game, because it's good to look good and have good defence as an amateur, but it's so important to have good defence as a professional and protect your health and your brain, most importantly. What's mad is when you turn professional, I started off the amateur. When you're an amateur, you're fighting all over the world. You're fighting the sports halls and you're fighting the best fighters in the world. You're going to fight the best, highest level fighters in the whole world, and you're going to get little reward for it because nobody knows who you are. It's not on the television, it's not televised. You're not going to get much rewards. But when you turn professional, you're going to drop down a level and you're going to fight someone. And sometimes you're fighting someone when you turn professional and you think, he's a smart fucker, and I've just fainted him, he never done nothing. He's waiting to come back for a counter. The truth is, he's not even good enough to react off a feint. And you think, wow, is the level dropped that much, or he's got to be blagging me? That's how you think when you turn professional. But it's not, it's true. They're really that bad, these journeymen. And because you're used to boxing at such a high level, you get no reward for it. You turn professional, you beat somebody who's literally just come over for a payday. He can't even box. And when you knock him out, you're going to get loads of praise for it. So it can be confusing because your ego can grow so much because people are smacking you on the back saying, lad, you were brilliant the other night. But the truth is, you were brilliant for the last 5 years, fighting abroad for nothing against the best in the world, but now you're fighting against the worst in the world, literally. and you're getting all this praise, it can be confusing. So watch out for that. Keep your head in the game. Don't get too high on ego and stuff like that, because the truth is, I know everyone's telling you you're great, but you know you're fighting people who can't even lace your boots. That's the start off, just through the experience. So, you know, chill out a little bit. You're not Floyd Mayweather just yet. Don't be going out of a weekend telling everyone that you're 3-0. It's not impressive, not really. Just wait until you have a real fight and you feel someone who's really good, and when you can beat them, that's when you can go out and celebrate. But other than that, just stick to your craft and keep on learning in the gym. Back in the gym after a win Monday morning, not going out for 2 weeks after a win against the journeyman. It's bollocks. Don't be doing that. You'll ruin your career fast. Being a role model, something you don't expect. You act the fool up once or twice, and then people start saying to you, you shouldn't be doing that, you know. Little kids are looking up to you, and they feel like an enormous amount of pressure to be normal, or a good member of society or whatever. But if you're always being a little bollocks, and you always want to be a little bollocks, and you like having a laugh and messing around and all that, you've got to get your act together. I was told by all the people around me, you can't keep doing that, you know. You can't keep doing that. And I used to think, why not? Why not? Just me. But then again, you look at little fellas, and if it was your little fella, your lad doing the same as you, or like someone else's son or daughter doing the same as you, then you think, oh yeah, I get what you're saying there. So you've got to expect to be a little bit more clever and a bit more sensible if you're going to be doing things. You see a lot of fighters going out making mistakes, ends up in the headlines and stuff like that. People love doing that, you know what I mean. A lot of reporters will never report about your wins, but they love reporting about your losses. So yeah, you're going to be expected to be some sort of a role model at some level, whether that be local, in your local gym, citywide, countrywide, or even nationwide, or you know, you can some fighters are global, aren't they, and they're under the spotlight, everything they do. So yeah, you have to be a model pro, and you have to abide by the rules. Unfortunately, endorsements is a mad one, because endorsements, as an amateur, if you're lucky enough to get someone to help you out financially, sponsorships they're called. Sponsorship people are going to help you out and fund your career and stuff like that. I never ever had one as an amateur, not like that. But I turned pro very young. As soon as I turned professional, my mate Tommy, he started sponsored me, I call it, but it's endorsements, you know. And if you're turning professional young, you probably don't understand your value, your endorsement value. You carry value with you, you know, and that's why you should be a model pro, and you have to then act accordingly to being a professional, because if you are carrying endorsements, whatever you do, it also reflects on the people who are endorsing you, and you carry a good you're a walking billboard basically. So yeah, don't just go for the first endorsements. Don't sell yourself very cheap, you know. Know your worth. If you can, if you can ask other fighters, what are you endorsed by? What do you get out of the sport? How do you go about it? Who's going to endorse you? And make sure you make sure you look after yourself in the future, because when you turn professional, originally you're going to be fighting, and you're going to be thinking it's free money, but it's not free money, because one day it comes that the fights get less and less, because you're fighting less times a year, because you're fighting for higher paces, and the value of you goes up in fights. If one of their fights fall through, then you're not making no money. So it's just down to endorsements. Make sure that you get the right endorsement deals, and make sure you don't think that's free money. Put your money aside. That was one of the things that I got advised as a coach when I was young. It was only till I met my manager Tony Bellew to start doing something with my money. Other than that, before that, when I was young, I just enjoyed myself. You think it's going to come forever, and it sort of does, because it's keep coming. It's never stop coming. But then again, you think like, how long can you fight? And it's a limited time frame. So make sure you put your money aside, or if you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do with your money, invest it, and spend the money you make off your investments rather than spending your investment money. So then, that was my ramble on things like you don't know when you're going to turn professional. As an amateur, turning professional, you're not going to know these things. So it's important to know these things. It'd be good to find someone like you who's been in the same situation as you, a few years ahead as you, and you can learn from the pitfalls of other people's mistakes, can't you? And that's the beauty of making mistakes. You can pass on your wisdom to other people. So I hope this video helps someone. Please, I want to grow the channel, so like and subscribe, leave a comment, share to your friends, and you're doing me a favour. So yeah, you have a lovely day, family Ammo.